You know that feeling when your brain won't let anything pass without a full investigation? You're in bed replaying conversations from earlier in the day when you're trying to sleep. You constantly find yourself mapping out scenarios that may never happen. If you're somebody who thinks too much, it's not because you're choosing to. Your mind runs all day about everything, and it doesn't care how tired you are. Most people's minds settle when the world gets quiet, but yours fills the silence like it has a job to do. And there are powerful psychological reasons why your mind does this. There's a part of your brain that's supposed to quiet down when nothing urgent is happening. Psychologists call it the default mode network. In most people, it settles when they're resting or focused on a task. In people who think too much, it doesn't quite work like this for them. You're brushing your teeth and your mind is editing something you said at lunch. You're driving home and it's already rehearsing a conversation you are not having until Thursday. And all of that invisible work costs real energy. The mind burns through about 20% of your body's fuel on a normal day, so when it never takes a break, you end up exhausted without having done anything visible. You've been running a mental marathon while your body sat in a chair, and nobody hands out medals for that one. Here's what most people miss. Your mind is actually running two programs at the same time, and from the inside, they feel identical. One pulls backward. It goes back over something you said at dinner, second guesses a decision you already made, picks apart a moment everyone else forgot 5 minutes later. Psychologists call this rumination, which is basically your mind's way of picking at something that's already over. Researchers who studied this across thousands of people found something worth sitting with. The replaying wore people down more than the events themselves did. It's not what happened that sticks with you, it's how many times you're forced to relive it. The other program points forward. It rehearses conversations that haven't happened yet and jumps straight to the worst version. You've probably planned out an entire argument with someone who doesn't even know you're upset yet. I've done that myself one too many times. You've gone back to a conversation from 3 days ago because one thing you said didn't land the way you meant it. Nobody has even mentioned it, and honestly, they probably wouldn't remember what you said if you asked them. But your mind won't close the file because your mind needs to be sure before it lets you move on. Researchers call this intolerance of uncertainty. It just means not knowing feels almost unbearable to you. And the mental circling brings a tiny hit of relief, which is exactly what trains it to keep going. It's a loop that feels responsible, but never actually resolves anything. Like rereading a message you already sent, hoping it sounds different this time. Over time, this stops feeling like something you do and starts feeling like something you are. Someone laughs a little too quickly after saying they're fine, and you caught it. A friend's voice drops half a note when they mention they're weak, and you already know something happened. You've spent 10 minutes deciding whether to text "sounds good" or "sounds great," knowing full well they mean the exact same thing. But your mind treats a Tuesday text the same way it treats a life decision. Everything gets the full audit. And underneath all of it, there's often a quiet belief running in the background. If you stop analyzing, you'll miss something important. And if you stop preparing, you won't be ready. The thinking feels like it's keeping you safe, even when it's running you into the ground. The thinking is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's a feature that sometimes forgets to turn off. And to be fair, not everyone who thinks too much experiences it the same way. For some people, it's mostly just exhausting, and that's valid too. But there's a side of this that rarely gets talked about. That same mind that loops and scans and runs every scenario can also be the reason your friend walks in smiling and you already know something's wrong, not because they said anything, but because the way they sat down was a little too careful. When someone tells you about their day, you're not just hearing the words. You're catching the pauses, the things they skipped over, the detail they mentioned twice. People who think too much often end up being the ones others come to when they need to feel understood. That same intensity can make you perceptive and creative, tuned in to people in ways they don't even realize. That doesn't make you better than anyone else. It just means your mind processes the world differently, and that comes with its own kind of value. And that's the part most people get wrong about overthinkers. The goal isn't to stop thinking at that level. Honestly, you probably couldn't if you tried. The goal is recognizing when your mind is digging for gold and when it's just digging a hole. Sometimes it's doing something actually useful, and sometimes it's just old wiring scanning for problems that aren't there anymore. Confusing preparation with peace. How much you think isn't really the question. What matters is whether the thinking is taking you somewhere or just keeping you busy. Some things don't need solving, some silences are just silences. And sometimes you're allowed to move on without running a full investigation first. If your mind never stops running, that doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your brain takes everything seriously, including the things that don't need it. You were never too much. You were just someone whose mind refuses to skim the surface, and in a world that rewards quick and shallow, that's not a flaw. It's just a different way of moving through it. So tell me, what is the thing you overthink about the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives like this. See you in the next one.